deeper than music. The core of you, the fans, the truth is deeper than music, deeper than music. Simply the truth is the latest, the newest. It's deeper than music, deeper than music. The core of you, the fans, the truth is deeper than music, deeper than music. Simply the truth is the latest, the newest. It's deeper than music, deeper than music.
Hello, it's your man Furious, Deeper Than Music Radio. Behind every great song, there's an even greater story. Thank you for listening in on this Friday where we're finally getting some rain and cooler weather here in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. Today we have a very special treat. We have Bungalo Records Chief Operating Officer Jane Daley, and we also have recording artist from Mississippi, Dolla Black, is in the building. Jane and Dolla Black, how you guys doing today?
I'm doing fine.
Wonderful. Glad to be here.
Oh, thanks. Thank you guys.
So am I.
Thank you for, taking the time out to be on our show. I mean, Jane and Dolla Black, Bungalo Records is definitely representing, and I'm pretty sure this is going to be a very interesting and very insightful interview. So I'll start first with Dolla Black. One thing that I found very interesting when reading your bio and following up on your music is that you're from Jackson, Mississippi. I used to live in Mississippi, and one thing that I noticed is with Mississippi music, one thing that came to mind was David Banner, and also just Mississippi is full of soul, full of we got the blues, rhythm and blues, just a soulful. I already know that your music is going to be soulful. So the first question I have is, who is Dolla Black and what is your sound?
Man, Dolla Black, I'm just an aspiring artist, family man, aspiring mogul, entrepreneur in the music business from Mississippi, and I think that is my sound. Just highly relatable. You can identify me with anything in your day-to-day life. That's me. I'm relatable, and I'm from Mississippi.
I like what you said about being relatable. One of the things that I've always, as a fan of music, is a great artist, he invokes emotion, like you can relate to, and it's funny, like the music is the universal language. Anybody can relate. We all go through the same type of stuff, so that's a beautiful thing, and that's, to me, that's a mark of a great artist. When did you know that you wanted to be a musician? Like, was it when you were younger?
Yeah, man. With me, early on in my life, I grew up in a two-parent home. My parents were together, and my father, he was heavily into music. He couldn't do anything without music. My grandfather, he was a gospel singer, and my aunt is a gospel singer. So I was always around music. It wasn't until I realized that I myself had a thing for poetry first. But I think when I came to the realization that a lot of the rap artists in my earlier years of life, they were really poets. It's basically the same concept and the same format. Once you put it on paper, all you need is the beats. Once I realized that, that's when I began to grow and turn my knowledge towards actually trying to create art myself. So I probably, if I could put a year on it or label it with a year, I'd probably say my 7th grade year, which may have been 1999, maybe 2000, somewhere in there.
So it started off as creative writing, and then you already came from a musical family, and it just matured into to your poetry over a beat, spoken word over a beat.
Right.
Okay.
Exactly.
And Jane, Chief Operating Officer, I know that you have just a history of music. My question to you is, when did you know that, I guess it's a two-part question. When did you know that you wanted to be involved in music, and what was the primary steps that led you to here now? What was your first venture into music?
My first venture was, I was in choir in high school, and I sang, and then I kind of gave that up because I had trouble with my voice, so I lost that. But in 1969, I went to Europe for a honeymoon and took a leave from the stock exchange and came back, and there was no job at the stock exchange. So I went to work for a manufacturing facility in Los Angeles. And after about 2 months, I decided, I can make a career from it. I understand music. I'm technically inclined, which I understood the jargon of the industry. It took me 2 weeks to learn it, to which I have seen people that have taken 2 years, but I understood everything, and I wanted to learn what the artists had to do to get to where they were putting their music out. So I started at the back end. I started in a recording studio. I watched performances by Elvis, by Lawrence Welk.
Wow.
Learned how to learn enough on the board that I could make minor changes, but I wasn't good on that. But I needed to understand when they did an acetate, once they did their recordings and it got mixed and ready to go to the pressing plant, I had to understand how the acetate was created. And it was very interesting. And I learned that, an acetate, even though you're in a studio with it, it still can come out with problems on it if the engineer doesn't pay attention to when it's being cut. And then from there, in the pressing plant, we processed our own parts to stampers and made the records. And then I watched and understood how the presses worked. And I actually spent about 3 days on the line with the operators, working the machines. They were a little bit limited on me learning, but I understand the principle. And then I'd go through and inspect records and pack records and ship them out to the facilities in Dallas or Indiana, New Jersey, after we had pressed them.
So the record would be recorded and pressed in the studio?
It was recorded and the acetate was made in the studio.
Wow.
Then that was shipped to the pressing plant, and it went through a chemical process that I had to stay away from because I was allergic to it. But it was a 3-part. They would make a mat. The acetate was positive, the master was negative, then the mother was positive, and that's what was used to make the stampers, which were negative. And so we would have that. And through that process, they could press anywhere from 10 to 15,000 records before they had to have another master come in, sometimes more.
Wow.
And that's totally different than what's now. It's just you can record from your house or studio, send the MP3 to a digital distribution, and then also get it pressed up as CDs and vinyl. That's
right. They pressing it to CDs and vinyls. They would have to do their artwork, and they have a graphics designer design the artwork. Well, it was that. But from 1969 until now, I've gone from vinyl to cassettes to 8-track then cassettes to CD, and now the digital world, and getting in, and I'm trying to understand the streaming world as well.
And yeah, the streaming world is very interesting. I know right now the streaming, they're trying to find a way to compensate. It's changed the whole business, model. And what's interesting to me is the streaming, and then what artists see as far as pay. And
I had a comment the other day. Where's all the money from the music? And I said it's streaming, and some of them it's from a quarter cent to maybe 5 cents a stream. It just depends on what the vendor is.
Yeah.
So these artists, they have to do at least 50 to 100,000 to see any kind of money come in.
Wow.
And that's, that should be a month or more. I've seen some reports come in where they stream up to 1 million pieces or 1 million streams a week. but that's your A artists, and
Oh yeah, so like your indie or an artist without a major push that.
those can run up to 50, 75, 100,000 if they get a major push with the right promotion people, and the song catches on. A good example was when Dr. Dre started recording and he did the streamings. He already had a reputation, so it just carried through. I'm trying to think of, I had an independent label out of Texas. She was country western, and she was selling digital and streams close to like 150 a week. So, and that was with very little promotion, and that goes back a bit. But now the promotion is the number one thing that's important.
Yeah. And with Dolla Black, you have a good following, and I know that your solo debut, "Let Me Work," opened up a lot of doors for you.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask, during that, when do you remember your first performance as an artist? And
Kinda, but not really. I remember my first performance as a solo artist. Yes.
Okay. We'll go with
but
that.
Well, that was here in Mississippi, man. A couple years back, I think it was maybe 2012, the end of 2012, maybe 2013, somewhere in there. They were having a summer jam, the second installment of a summer jam here in Mississippi at Club Dreams, and that was I figured it was no better time to really put together a set and come out and really showcase myself as a solo artist on that stage, and it was beautiful, like, because I feel like I've always had like visions of what I think things should be as far as delivering music, performances, music videos. Sometimes my vision has always been a lot bigger than my resources. So, but I remember that like it was yesterday, because I had been pushing my single that I did for almost a year, and people really took to seeing me by myself, and that let me know that I could really hold my own.
So with your sound, who are your influences? Like, who influenced you from a creative standpoint?
From a creative standpoint, I would probably say when I actually started attempting to find my voice, I started listening to people who had the same elements as me. So I'd say for the voice, I listened to Bun B, Ludacris,
okay,
and also Nate Dogg. Because like Jane, I came up in choir too. I was actually singing in my high school and college. I got a full scholarship for it. So Nate Dogg was the only person who I felt like could kill a hook effortlessly and not really change too many keys. You know, he always had his pocket.
He had that smooth voice, but he definitely, like, if you had Nate on the song, he definitely, he added that element.
Guaranteed. So those and then as far as like cadences and delivery, I would listen to Busta Rhymes.
Oh yeah.
And as far as content, somebody who I looked up to earlier on was Will Smith. I'd always liked the fact that, again, Will Smith had that element that a lot of artists weren't able to capture, which is that relatability, and that opened up. I feel like that kept his market open as far as where he could do shows, who he could perform with, how he got his licensing. It was always family-friendly, fun records that were actually nice and were jamming, you know. Yeah. So I was really all over the scope as far as learning. And then, of course, with me being in Mississippi, I'd also take my looks and my picks and chooses from David Banner, his energy. Oh, yeah. Early David Banner, his energy was amazing to me. You know, as far as that was a little bit before and in the crunk era. So, you know, everybody was on the up tempo music and the heavy beats. So I was really just a student and kind of had my picks and chooses as to who I would listen to see what I can kind of take from them or what I enjoyed the most that I felt like I could probably add to what I do.
And I like how the way you described that. You were methodical about it, and I picture being in the lab, like, okay, I'm gonna make the perfect MC. And it reminds me how, and I feel that the younger generation, like I like how when you hear about Michael Jackson studied Sam Cooke, Fred Astaire, right. And you right. describe perfectly, because we got your song queued up, and now we definitely got to play it, because the way you described, okay, for the delivery, I thought you was going to say Luda, but both Luda and Busta have their thing. But
right.
So you studied from the greats and artists that are still doing it, and then you added your own twist. So with that being said, I got queued up, King Done Come. Can you give us a little breakdown of that song before we cue it up?
King Done Come, well, a little background on it. I actually had a drought, because I had an immense drought where I couldn't write. I couldn't really do anything because I turned and started focusing more on learning the business. I felt like maybe I wasn't getting as much traction as I felt I deserved because I wasn't doing the business right. So I turned and started attempting to learn and figure out how the actual business and how to make money with music and marketing and so on and so forth. And my recording and engineering, I just immersed myself in it to the point where creatively I couldn't move. I took some time off. I had to go out to Denver for a couple weeks, and I was locked in a hotel room for like 2 weeks. And that's when I wrote that particular record, King Done Come. I felt like I finally freed myself from what I had been stuck in. And just so happened when I made it back home and let my wife hear, she was like, you calling it King Done Come. I nicknamed my son King. And she was like, you should have him say something at the beginning. And that's just kind of how it all tied into what it became.
Priceless. So here we have on Deeper Than Music Radio with Bungalo Records Chief Operating Officer Jane Daley and Mississippi recording artist Dolla Black, Kingdom Come, here on Deeper Than Music Radio.
Hi, this is Jessica Rose, and you are listening to Furious on Deeper Than Music.
Oh, Daddy. What happened to the music?
All right, somebody tell him it's time to get back to work, right? Yeah. It's been a long time coming with this one right here, huh? Ain't no more talking down there, talking like I ain't right here with it, you dig? I thought I wasn't coming back with no more work. I still got more, homie, don't worry. On Dollar. We live and direct with it is. Word. Come with it by the way, you know that. It's always Dolla Black, homie. It's the return of the big dog. Calculated playing big ball. Ball shit, they compare me to Rick Ross. But I ain't Ross, and this ain't make back, nigga. Took some L's, now I'm looking for that payback, nigga. Say that, nigga. A beast, and I'ma stay that, nigga. Brought that heavy, need a crane, scared away that nigga. Don't compare me to other rappers, homie, we just differ. They say, Dollar, you slowing down, now my plate got bigger. And I need pins in all of my ends. The perception's getting misused, let's get a new lens. Couple niggas done went astray, no need to pretend. I'm high and dry and stretched in, time to get it in. That ain't gonna stop shit. Regardless of who done cut me and all the shit I done been through, got drive you can't teach. That shit just gotta be in you, they thinking to keep it simple. I'm reaching for monumental, want the point, let's keep it plain and simple. It's still black,
Clear the dust off my throne. I am king, I tread hostile territories where only lions roam. I lead the tribe, but I can stand alone. Young king and I, and all that we survey is home. Right hand, but most play it wrong. Kings aren't born, they're molded, so teach them young. Then send them out and let them shine like the blazing sun. And when he returns, the people will say, Kingdom come.
At the tone, please record your message. When you have finished recording, you may hang up or press 1 for more options.
Yo,
what's up, Dolla Black, man? It's your boy, Merk B. Williams. Look, bruh, hey, I'm interested in getting on the record with you, man. Look, I know I'm a comedian. I know I got that funny and all that good stuff. But look, man, I got bars. I want to be on the record. I know I'm a comedian, but I feel like I got some bars and I got something to say. And I'm just looking for somebody to give me a chance. So look, man, hit your boy up, man. You know what I'm saying? I heard you the hottest cat out here, man. So I'm trying to get with the hottest cat out here. You know what I mean? So look, put me on, man. I need to get my Jew card. So yeah, bruh, you know, don't make me wait for it. You feel me? You see what I did? You know I be listening to your album. But look,
Ladies and gentlemen, Dolla Black, Kingdom Come, here on Deeper Than Music Radio. I gotta say, man, I hear some face mob in that, man. I like that. I like that.
Yeah, and lately I've been getting more comparisons to Scarface, which made me go back and start kind of listening and seeing what they can hear.
Yeah,
and also taking notes from him as well. Man, I'm just a big student, man. Like
yeah,
I love music and love figuring out how I can make my music more relatable and capturable to the audience, man.
No, I like it. And Jane, as far as Bungalo Records, I see that you're in charge of the hip hop distribution. So we got a taste of Bungalo. We got a taste of Dolla Black. What is, as far as hip hop, what is Bungalo Records bringing to the table as far as their artists?
Well, we're diversifying now. We're going not just hip hop. We're doing jazz. We're doing pop. All genres. So that we have Dollar. We have a couple other hip hop artists that are coming back. We have one artist that has been around for a lot of years, is Ronnie Perkins, and he's out of Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
Oh, okay.
And I'm sorry?
No. I was going to say, I also noticed, because you said it's very diversified, I noticed that Bungalo Records has been associated with the likes of Patti LaBelle, Russell Simmons, Carl Thomas, and DJ Quick.
Yes. DJ Quick, Corrupt. Who was the other one? He passed away recently. Heavy D.
Oh yeah, Heavy D, definitely. And he's in line with Will Smith. So
yes,
right.
Yeah. He turned out to be a very good friend as well as an artist, and that's one thing I like. I like to have the friendship with the artists so that they understand that I do care. Some of the labels that I've worked at a couple other labels. It's just like I'm man on a turn wheel. You put your music in and then you send it out on the conveyor belt to the distributors, and that's it. But here we work very hard. Patti LaBelle took us into a gold record, I believe, if I remember right. Carl Thomas was very high on his sales. We had KC from KC.
And JoJo?
And JoJo.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
I'm stressing my brain trying to remember who
Oh, no.
It's 20 years. I've gone through a lot of artists. And
yeah, because some of the names that you mentioned, I mean, like, you have a wealth of knowledge, and like you said, you want to build a relationship with artists, and I mean, I could imagine as your experience, you've seen a lot and heard a lot. So was it Dolla Black's solo album, the Let Me Work? Is that how did Dolla Black, like, what was the story behind, how did you get connected with Bungalo Records? How did that come about?
Well, me, personally, I, met these guys here, man. I'm actually under an agreement with Lifestyle Entertainment as well. Lifestyle Entertainment Group. They started a music department in which that I helped them out with the music department as well for my business savvy and what it is that I know. But they had actually had interactions with Bungalo Records and began kind of working with them. I was just kind of the guy that helped push the needle forward as far as bringing them the music, letting them hear the music. We finally got something that we were basically confident about that could be pushed out to a broader audience and help us create a relationship with Bungalo through the music and having quality music. We sent it to Bungalo. They loved it. And now we're here. We're working the records. The record that we sent first was Money, the single from the album featuring Fred Nice. And then when they actually heard the EP, I think that just kind of tied them in a little bit more. Like they really enjoy the music, and that's what makes our partnership even more enjoyable because they actually care about and love the music. So that's where I came in. It was already a business relationship, but I just came in and helped with the music. That's what I did.
Oh, okay. And then Jane, you're overseeing his release,
right? Well, I oversee the day-to-day operations. Paul Ring, who's the president and owner, he goes out and he meets with these individuals. With Lifestyle Entertainment, he met with them. He signed the contract, and once the contract is signed, then I get privy to it and set the music, the release up, get it into Universal. And we also have world distribution as well. So, if they have a following, if they're starting to build a following overseas, we can help with that. But I'm there to answer questions, and if they need some assistance in getting things done, I step in. I try to help as much as I can. Mm-hmm. And I try to get the best bang for what I can with the sound and the type of music that's available. It's some of the music with Dollar just starting. As he said, it takes time to build yourself up.
Yeah.
And he's built himself, and he's starting, and he's ready for the next phase, is to set him up so that he can go more national, be, expand into Georgia, the southeast, south through Texas, some of the stations in Texas. I know there's a couple good stations there in Houston from my past experience. And I have relationships with several of the people that work.
And I like the fact that with Dolla Black, it seems like you guys have a perfect relationship. Jane, you have all this knowledge, and Dolla, you're getting your experience, and like you said, you're an entrepreneur. You want to see the business end, and Jane has started from the business end, and it seems like it's a perfect combination.
Right.
And if he has questions, he can come to me and ask me questions. If I don't have the answer, I'll go and find it for him.
Right.
So, Jane, what was your... Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, when you heard the music, like, what do you see? You guys see the potential. You guys saw, like, this music, because the music is... I love the music. What were your thoughts?
I enjoy the music, and it's something that he's got his trend in the music is variety. He plays one song, one song is one style, and then the next song is just slightly different on the style. So he's very versatile. Did you have a gospel song on this album, or am I confusing it with something else?
I think the closest to a gospel song might have been on the first album. I got a record called Only Human. That was as close to a gospel record. Yeah, I think that's the one you...
You come from an area that's got a lot of blues.
Blues and soul. Yeah.
Right.
Yes. The man that taught me about radio was from Mississippi many, many years ago in the 50s, and he had a label called Cadillac Records.
Oh wow.
Oh, is that based on the movie Cadillac Records with
Yes.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
I was very good friends with him. He took me under his wing, and when I left the first job I had, I went into a second job, and I met him, and he took me under his wings. He took me to the conventions. He introduced me to people that were important to know and understand. And, it's something that not too many people, especially for me being a pretty white girl from the North, coming into the South and coming into a black music industry, what I was in, I'd been well accepted through the years, but he took me under his wing and he told everybody, you touch this girl and you're going to fight with me. It was something I laughed about for months. And even my husband told me, he says, I'm glad at least somebody's there to take care of you. So
Wow.
That's the way I've been in the industry all my 40 years that I've been there. I've met, as you said, I've met a lot of people before Bungalo. And I met Gladys Knight when I first went to work for Private Eye, which was owned by Julius Crowe. And we had the Wilson brothers and a few others. So, just every step I take forward, I meet somebody new. And I'm still learning. I'm learning about, what the artist wants from the music industry, what they're making from the music industry. And the band that, when I first came into the industry, I was told if I didn't keep learning and learning something new every day or every week, I might as well go find a 9-to-5 job where I do a repetitive work and not have anything. So I learned a great deal from this time that I've been here. I'm even learning things from Dollar.
Yeah.
He has his style and his thoughts on music, and then I have my thoughts and I can combine them with him and we can do things.
And that's what I was saying. It's like a perfect combination. And Dolly, you mentioned the song that sparked it all was Money. So I got it queued up. Could you give us a little background, and we'll go ahead and play this song next.
Okay, yeah. The featured artist and the producer on that record, Fred Nice, he actually saw me perform when I opened up for Big Crit on the second stint of his on a second date in Mississippi of his Cadillactica tour, which was in Oxford, Mississippi. He saw me perform, and we connected, but we didn't really connect. He always told me he was gonna get some records over to me, but that kind of fell by the wayside. Late last year, he popped back up again and was like, "Hey man, I didn't forget about you. What's your email?" Sent me an email full of records, man, and that was the one that when I immediately heard it, I was like, okay, this one can be something. And I sat with it, and by the time that was one of the ones that I completed in Colorado as well for that 2-week stint when I was gone. So when I finally unlocked and I was able to kind of wrap my head around being creative, that's one of my favorite records to date that I've done.
So this was part of the creative outlet of the 2-week
Right.
stint. This came out. Okay, so it sounds like you had a creative spurt. Okay.
Yeah, I did.
So
real strong.
We'll play a second song from that creative spurt, Money, here featuring Fred Nice, and we have Dolla Black and Jane Daley here, Deeper Than Music Radio.
2050, I just want the money. Who they coming? Got it. All these niggas get the running. 20s, 50s, 100. I just want the money. Laughing to the bank. Hey, get it. Funny. 20s, 50s, 100s. I just want some money. Who they coming? Got it. All these niggas get the running. 20s, 50s, 100s. I just want some money. Laughing to the bank. All that hate, get it. Funny. 20s, 50s, 100s. I just want some money. Who they coming? Got it. All these niggas get the running. 20s, 50s, 100s. I just want some money. Laughing to the bank. All that hate, get it.
I'm back to the bed. bag, ain't worried about niggas talking. Count 20, 50s, hundreds out and trying to talk the work. You gotta mention me if you ain't talking money, homie. You done lost. I gotta run it up until it's running over. I'm like Cam Newton to the bank. Gotta be Andre or Kanye with the moves, nigga. Give a damn what you think. Got rank, count cash, get cash. Double that, better nigga, make it look easy. One plan, touchdown, open up shop. Early morning with the birds, gotta get it weekly. And the kids go crazy when they see me. Believe me, they gon' love when I ball. And the only niggas hating on the kid. Hands out and waiting on the kid. Gotta grind for everything I need. All I ever wanted was a stack. Get the stack, turn it to a meal. Celebrate and go and double that. I can't tell if I just love the chase. Either way, I swear I want it all. She said black is either me or it, so I said
I just want the money. 20s, 50s, 100s. I just want some money. Who that come and got it? All these niggas get the running. 20s, 50s, 100s. I just want some money. Left it to the bank. All that ain't getting funny. 20s, 50s, 100s. I just want some money. Who that come and got it? All these niggas get the running. 20s, 50s, 100s. I just want some money. Left it to the bank.
got it, but I need more. Need a service, this the ticket. I won't be happy till bands in the bundles and counting over 6 digits. Talking numbers with my youngin'. She say they call it the wave. Black don't get no fuck about water. Black just trying to get paid till I get the Bentley coupe with the missing roof and my billfold in the armrest. Talking diamond cuts with my prince instead of quoting Khaled out the window. We the best. Storm out the window, see the VVS. Sunny days, but we bumping gray skies. They been hating on me since I was a youngin'. Still the money I stack it up, yay high. Got a grab for everything I need. All I ever wanted was a stack. Get the stack, turn it to a meal. Celebrate and go and double that. Homie said he need to hold a bag. Told him long as he run it back. Now he on my phone talking favor.
I just want the money. 20s, 50s, 100s. I just want some money. Who they come and got it? All these niggas get the running. 20s, 50s, 100s. I just want some money. Left it to the bank. All that ain't getting funny. 20s, 50s, 100s. I just want some money. Who they come and got it? All these niggas get the running. 20s, 50s, 100s. I just want some money. Left it to the bank. All that ain't getting funny.
This is Gary Devon Dotson, and you're listening to Deeper Than Music Radio.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was Money.
Yeah.
Dolla Black, man. I love it. Like the delivery, like you say, you telling the story, and I love the bounce, the flavor. It's all, the ingredients are all there. You can tell the ingredients are all there. And before
I appreciate that.
Before we got off, Jane, you mentioned that a lot has changed and you're still learning. How do you feel? And earlier, previous to the show, we were talking about you met a young Dr. Dre, the world-class Wrecking Crew, a young Eazy-E as well. How do you feel the current landscape of hip-hop, like from then to now? What are the changes that you've seen?
I saw the hip-hop go from telling stories like Dolla is telling right now. He talks about his life experiences and without any foul language or curse words. You don't need that. And from that time, Eazy was one of the Eazy, and then there was another artist here in LA called Egyptian Lover.
Oh, okay.
They were very good storytellers. And when they put the beats to music, it was beautiful. And then Dre worked with a group called the Wrecking Crew, as well as Eazy. And he learned his mixing, and then he went on and his additional. But when he started the gangster rap on Straight Outta Compton, I kind of turned me off from the hip hop because I don't like where the parental advisory sticker has to be on, and they use the
now
foul language.
I have to ask you a question.
Yes.
This is a little controversial, but it's the second time that somebody's brought this up. First, it was Bradford Marcellus, and then Eric Benet just recently said that. I think it was kind of extreme for what he said, but I get what he was saying. And they're saying that the current hip hop scene, they're pretty much like white supremacists, they're killing the culture, and
they're trying.
Yeah. And I wanted to get both of your guys' thoughts on that statement and their feelings on that. How do you feel?
Well, for me personally, it goes back to when Straight Outta Compton came out with Eazy and Dre and the crew. Language was cursing and putting down the white people. They did not like white people. And what I see now and what Bradford was talking about, they're still putting it. They're still trying to wipe out. I've heard some artists say that, there's not going to be any white people left when we're finished. It's the music. There's so much music to give. They can share. And this white supremacist thing that's being pushed now, I'm very much against it. I think that it's a few people that are pushing it. The different white supremacist groups that are out there, the Me Too and all the different marches that they're having, there's no reason for it.
Yeah.
It's just they're destroying their culture. They've worked 175 years to get their culture to where they were accepted. Now they're turning around. The older people are turning against them. I see they're going into the streets here in Los Angeles. There's at least 2 or 3 killings a day.
Wow.
Of senseless incidents. There was a drive-by shooting a couple days ago. A grandmother was shot.
Wow.
And it was an accident. And then you have Chicago.
Yeah, and then we had Extension, and then there was another rapper that got killed. And Dolla Black, how do you feel about what we're talking about and your thoughts?
I think that we have to get more people as far as rap music killing the culture. I feel like we just have to get more people who actually care about the culture. You know what I'm saying? In positions, because it's not like I've been talking about this a lot lately with people. It's not like we don't have artists out there who are actually doing and delivering quality product and taking their last and putting it into the music. It's just the fact that that's selling a lot slower because it's not the popular thing. So as many people aren't as willing to take chances on that caliber of music. You know what I'm saying? We have to slow roast. We have to be the ones who take maybe 10 to 15 years to make it, whereas the other music you can go in, do and say whatever and put it on SoundCloud in about a month you're a star.
Yeah.
So it's just one of those things where I believe that if we get a lot more people who are saying that they want to hear better music and more people who actually take their time and actually know how to deliver on a higher level, a higher intellectual level, then you'll begin to slowly see things change. And I feel like it's on its way back. I mean,
I think so too. We have Kendrick Lamar and yourself, so it's coming back. And we're gonna have to do a part 2 because we're like we got a minute and 40 minutes left. I wish I could extend the time. So
I know, and it's the music industry is such a extensive industry, and not just Dollar is just part of it. There's other artists, other genres that are just as important.
Right.
Yeah.
So. And I don't know how extensive your show is. It just a hip hop show, or is it?
No, we interview other artists, actors, music producers from all over the world, here and abroad. So we have like a minute left, and I would love to have you guys back on. Dolla Black, we can follow up with you and what's going on. And Jane, I would love to just get the history. You have like a wealth of knowledge that we would love to have on.
Oh,
So-
I would love to come back. Just let me know, and so that I can schedule my time and not be, I can't do it right now because I'm doing releases.
Oh,
so,
no.
Yeah. So give me a time that I can do, come back, and I love to talk about it, and I'd love to help educate the young people that listen to your program to understand what Dollar does and what I do, and then what we do together. It's important, and it's important that the young people learn it this way.
Yes.
Okay, so we have like 4 seconds left, and we'll close with Wait For It.